Can I be heard? Am I hearable? I hope I'm hearable. If I'm not, then we're in trouble. If you're watching this, then say something. Right now what's happening is LibreOffice has shit the bed for the first time, so it's getting that out of the way. And we will start once I find all the documents I had open. Oh. I know where one is. We'll open that one in a second. We'll open that one in a second. The other one is missing. So stand by as I open LibreOffice. This was a mistake. God damn it. Never use LibreOffice. It sucks. Okay, let's try that again. Let's try that again. Discard. No. Discard. Yes. Okay. Okay, there we go. Alright. I think this stage is set. Let's let people know in case they want to join up. And then we'll get started talking about some interesting stuff, I think. If this document opens, otherwise we're really fucked. It's definitely not opening. God damn it, LibreOffice. Okay, but if you're watching this, say something in the chat so I know. Okay, hello. Hi, Sandy. Putra. Pratama. We're going to give it a second for people to shuffle in if they're going to shuffle in. And then we're going to get started. Yes, it's working. Okay, cool. We'll get started talking about this. Hose report is sort of the focus tonight. This fucking program, I swear. We have to close some stuff. Oh, and that's teasing me like this. God damn it. Yeah, let's end that. Try that again. Sometime I'm going to show you something interesting. Sometime we'll see something useful. Hello, chat. God damn it. Sorry. LibreOffice is breaking my balls. This is the document we want. Okay, come on. Don't worry about that. Discard it. Just open this shit for me. Yes. Yes. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. Oh my god, it's going to choke on this adapt row height again. I might be remaking this spreadsheet, and that's okay. We can adapt and overcome. Okay, so what are we talking about tonight? The thing we're talking about tonight is Hoj.report. I've kind of dwelled on this a lot recently, but I think it's important to hear about. So this is Etherscan. We know what Etherscan is. We have holder data. I'm at the holders tab here. Quick synopsis is I download this data every hour on the hour, put it into spreadsheets, stick those spreadsheets together, and look at trends that happen in those spreadsheets. So tonight, the reason that I wanted to do this tonight is because of a comment that came up in Discord about a week ago. So this is Discord. So this guy very epically says, for the first time in over 3 months since I've been following the coin, the daily holders have dropped. And he says, I've been looking at the holders every single day on Etherscan for the last 3 months, and today's the first day. It is negative, down by a dozen. Not much, but still down. So, so how can that be, is the question. Sorry. One sec. Okay, cool. Looks like people at least see it. Okay, so how can that be? How can it be that the holder numbers is dropping? Well, immediately you might say, well, people are selling their Hoj, so it's the number's going down, of course. Well, it's not that simple. So the thing you have to understand first, to understand why this doesn't make sense, why this statement doesn't make sense, is that the number that shows up on Hoj.report, let's take a look at that. This holder number here, it is not a coincidence that that number very closely matches this number, 64,686, 64,685. So I suspect the reason that this is 1 digit off is because they aren't including the burn address here, which is clever. But at any rate, we're seeing 64,685 holders on Hoj report, and we're seeing 64,685 here, and we have this little up arrow. So what this guy was talking about in Discord is that he saw this up arrow flip to a down arrow, and he saw this number decrease. So the thing to understand about this number and what this means on both of these sources is this number is a representation of the Ethereum chain. Oh, yes. Yes, this took way too long to load. Okay, we'll talk about the spreadsheet in a second. And we'll open another spreadsheet that will take even longer to load, but that's okay. So why can this number go down? Or why is this number, okay, what is this number? This number is the total number of private wallets that hold Ethereum, hold Hoj on the Ethereum blockchain. So you heard me say a few things that were very specific, and there's a reason for all those specificities, so I'll explain. Private wallets. Private wallets are not exchange accounts, so this number does not include exchange accounts. I'll show you that now. So this is a spreadsheet of all of those holder values that were existed at 10 o'clock p.m. tonight, so 41 minutes ago. So you see exchange. So Etherscan and Hoj.report by extension represents all of the exchange accounts as one record. So one wallet, one quote-unquote private wallet address. So that's important because that sort of obfuscates this number. But in theory, as long as the developer of this application is discounting the exchange accounts across all the blockchains, that doesn't really matter, right? That's okay. Now, the problem starts when you understand that as of a couple weeks ago, we got onto the Binance Smart Chain, BSC. You've probably seen that. So BSC is another smart chain that sort of parallels Ethereum. It works a lot differently than the Ethereum blockchain. It's not subject to the same fee structure, so the gas doesn't. It only works in, well, the gas transactions aren't the same if you buy wrapped Hoj on the BSC chain. So you won't see. What am I trying to say? Okay, you know what gas is? Gas is a problem among Ethereum. It's a problem that exists when people use the Ethereum chain. It is like Uber. When the rates go up on Uber because people are using Ubers. If people use the Ethereum chain a lot, the gas goes up. Well, that same thing doesn't happen on the Binance Smart Chain. Part of that is because Binance owns all the nodes for the Binance Smart Chain. Binance Smart Chain is not decentralized. It is centralized under Binance. You can talk to other people about what all that means, but the point I'm trying to make here is that this value does not reflect coins that are held that are wrapped Hoj on the BSC chain or that are wrapped Hoj on either of the other 3 chains. So you don't know this, you might not know this, but we exist actually, or sorry, there are 2 chains. We exist on 4 chains: Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Phantom Chain, and XDAI. Okay. So that number is already wrong because it doesn't include exchange accounts, but that's okay. We can get around it. We can ignore that, call that a loss because everybody sees the same thing. Well, what I become, I guess, intrigued about is when that number starts to go down. So what that would immediately signal to people, if you were looking at any other coin that only existed on the Ethereum chain, is that might represent people, exiting the project. Now, that same situation doesn't exist for Hoj because Hoj is on 4 different chains. So there's 4 different places that those coins could go, leave the Ethereum chain, increment this value down by 1, but not change the total actual amount of holders in Hoj. So what I want to do today, or tonight, is to sort of tease that out, look at these numbers, compare them, and see if my idea that the holder number decreasing is maybe a little bit invalid. So the first thing I'll do, though, since we've got a few viewers, let's look at the most recent data just for a shits and grins thing in case you aren't familiar with this stuff. But we can do a quick little analysis. Talk about dust accounts real quick. So what's a dust account? There's another reason that Hoj.report number is a little bit off. Same with Etherscan. That number does not necessarily represent active holders because when you sell Hoj, it's very hard to sell it all if you're on the Ethereum blockchain. So let's see, this actually I need to remake. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this out. Wait, do I want to do that? No, we'll just keep it here. Fuck it. All right, so really we should just be looking at the Ethereum chain when I do this because, well, it's a lot to talk about, but ultimately the Ethereum chain should, in theory, be the only one that has the problem of dust accounts. All the other chains that have these very small holders, in theory, shouldn't really, that shouldn't be an issue where you try to sell your Hoj on these other exchanges. You should, in theory, be able to sell out completely. On the Ethereum chain, it's very hard because of gas and because of volatility of the Ethereum chain. So we have that slippage number that we add when we buy into a private wallet on the Ethereum chain. When you buy on Uniswap, you add that slippage number, and that slippage number means that it's very hard to perfectly pinpoint all of your Hoj and sell it all. So we have these accounts, these wallets that have sometimes less than, So this table at the bottom showing here, I have count of holders, that should be an O, with more or less than the sum on the left. Let's format these correctly. So the question here, so we've got 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million, and so on. So somewhere, often people use 10,000 as the number. People try to say, well, what is a threshold value we can use to say what a dust account is? A dust account being an account that represents a user that doesn't actually hold or actively participate in Hoj or isn't interested in it anymore. Maybe had it at one time, tried to sell it all, couldn't just because of the way the fee structure works in Hoj, and ended up with a wallet that still exists because it's really hard to get rid of a wallet that just sort of sits there. So if you use a threshold of 10,000 Hoj in a wallet as that dust threshold, then as of 10 o'clock tonight, we had about 15,000 holders with less than that sum in their wallet. Now that's out of 65,320. So I'm going to say 320 because I'm not going to include the burn address. So what we can look at here is well, a percentage. Let's do that. So first let's do a percentage. So let's just copy this down. So let's do, oh, I'm sorry, I need to zoom this in, I think, for you guys. All right, so here are these values, right? So we've got 15,000 people, or 15,000 wallets exist with less than 10,000 Hoj. So what percentage of the total number of holders is that? Let's do that real quick. So let's say equals, well, this divided by 65320 times 100, and then we will do this, and we will do this number divided by 65320 times 100. All right, so I don't know why that's. Oh, that's more because I excluded the burn address. So anyway, so this was again more and less. So we have, if we look here, 30% of the holders have less than 100,000, and 23% have less than 23,000. I would say that number is definitely trending down. So the proportion of holders with less than 100,000 has definitely gone up in the past few months. I'd argue that's probably a good thing because that reflects more people being there. But you could interpret that also as people are selling down and ending up with less than 100,000. Now, how can we conclusively say whether or not that's true? Well, I will show you in this next spreadsheet in a second, but let's continue kind of working through this one. But keep that number in mind. About 30% have less than 100,000. So when someone asks how many count, or sorry, 23%, how many counts are dust, maybe 23% of counts are dust if you use that number as your starting point. Okay, so now let's talk about how much Hoj is in those wallets. So the sum of Hoj in wallets with, this is kind of hard to interpret, but basically with 100,000, the sum of the wallets that have 100,000 or less is 266 million. So I'll put this table out there. I'm not going to dig into this too much. I think it's just useful sort of descriptive statistics to sort of see where we stand. I'll put this table out in the documents that are attached to the video when it's finished, and I'll dump it into Telegram and Discord. I'll also just dump this table in so you can use it. So what I like to use this for is I'll Control F my wallet address and type it in, whatever, like if it was this one, Control F, paste that in, find it, and then I know that this wallet is wallet number 65,265 out of 65,320, so I can kind of see where I rank, right? That can be a useful way to use this if you order the table by value of Hoj in the wallet. Okay, so the last thing I'll talk about on this spreadsheet before we go to the thing that is actually the topic of the discussion tonight is just a breakdown of each chain. So we've got let's do. I was finishing this up when the thing crashed, but 65320. Okay, and then we'll just bring this down. Okay, so here is the breakdown of the percentage of wallets in each chain, and then we'll do the same thing. Lock that range. All right, so this is going to be the percentage of Hoj in each chain. So you can see, obviously, Ethereum, as being the oldest and the most popular, has by far the most wallets, by far the most coins, and all the other ones are sort of dwarfed. So what I'd like to see going forward is this Binance Smart Chain being utilized, the liquidity being injected there, and this value going up. For all the other chains, I think it's if we're going to have them, it's a useful thing to have people using them. If the whole value proposition is that it would grow Hoj, as of right now, you can see the numbers. All right, so that's that spreadsheet. If anybody has any questions or wants to make any comments about this or look at anything else, type it into the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to pull up a different spreadsheet. All right, so for those that missed the beginning, this is going to take a minute to open up. For those that missed the beginning, the impetus or the reason we're having this whole conversation is because of this guy, very epically, who I'm going to pick on, but I think he had a good point and a good question. His question was, for the first time over 3 months, the holders have dropped. Again, he saw that when he looked at an Etherscan. Oh, look at that, we're pumping. Cool. All right, so he looked at that. He looked at Etherscan. He saw this holders number, and he saw a little red down arrow and a negative some percentage. He says that the count on 7/7 at 3/13 was 64,617. So we're going to see what he thought he was looking at when he came up with that number. So that what we're saying there is that that's what Etherscan was showing, right? Okay, and that's going to take a minute to open, of course. So we're just going to have to wait on that. If anybody has anything they want to share or ask or talk about. There's 6 of you guys. Somebody's got something to say. Let me go over to Telegram. See if anybody's talking in there. Nope. Nobody is. People are complaining in there. People need to quit complaining in Telegram. I would never complain in Telegram. Yeah, it's frustratingly slow. So I think I encourage you guys to never use LibreOffice. It's worth paying or getting Excel. These third-party software things, man, they're just a real piece of shit. Okay, so here's the thesis. the thesis is that the number that he was seeing only represented people leaving Ethereum, and that those people leaving Ethereum don't represent people that were selling out of Hoj. That's the question. That's the idea I'm trying to pose here. And we're going to use these spreadsheets to do that. Let me zoom in a little bit. All right, so what is a spreadsheet? This spreadsheet shows 2 different hours of data. Okay, so the first, and you're going to see one thing I should explain. This does not show burn, so you're never going to see this number go up in my spreadsheets. That's just how Etherscan represents their holder data. It doesn't show burn. So, fair warning. Take this with a grain of salt in that respect, but it's still useful information. So what do you see? What do we see? So he said, once again, that the situation he was in was that he was seeing that the Hoj had dropped down to 64,617 holders at the time that he looked at that. He looked at that at 3:13 p.m. on July 7th, 2021, and he was saying that it had dropped by about a dozen users. Okay, so those are the numbers: about a dozen users, and down to 64,617. So over here, what I've done is I've taken the holder data from 11:49 p.m. I don't know why I made this at 11:49. I think I was working on the scripts, but I happen to have this document from 11:49 p.m. on 7/6, and then I pulled the one from 3 o'clock p.m. 7/7. So this is the time he was looking at that number. Okay. So if we look down here, wait, let's not give this up yet. If we look down here, we will see. So when I combine these spreadsheets together, void is entered in any time that there is no record or no value in one sheet that there is in the other for a specific address. Okay, so keep that in mind. So what I've done here is I've joined all these addresses. I've joined on the address and the chain. So this is a unique record for this address on this chain. We'll see in a second that there are duplicates when someone has both wrapped ETH and Ethereum in the same wallet. That'll show up twice for 2 records in here. But anyway, the point is, if we were to just look at, just the raw count, including duplicates, so we're going to ignore that duplication. There's 65. What he should have seen was a number more akin to 65,157. I'll type here what he said he saw. He saw this number, 64,617. So first of all, just to illustrate this, he was missing somewhere around 540 addresses. Now that number is interesting, and we'll look at that in a second. So the count not void, so basically the number of wallets that had Hoj in them, was 64,857 the previous day. And I actually looked, I went into Etherscan and I checked, and I saw that if you look at the number now in Etherscan, it says we're up by 0.006%. That number, if I look at the end of the day chart, end of the day table from yesterday, we are up 0.006% compared to how many holders there were using the same logic. So saying not, where they weren't void for that previous day at the end of the day. So what that means is this number is comparing the end of the day. Another way you can figure that out, because I was trying to figure this out earlier, is if you double click this value and inspect it, you can see they included a tag here. Let me zoom this in a little bit, just so you can see this. So again, all I did is I went here and I inspected this, and it says a 0.006% increase in token holders from previous day count of 64681. When you open that spreadsheet for yesterday at 11 or 12 o'clock p.m. or whatever, 11 o'clock p.m. right before 12 o'clock a.m., the last hour of the day, it was 64,680 and 82 because they're excluding the burn address or something like that. Anyway, it was roughly identical. So I point that out because, again, this table represents the starting point. This table, this column represents a table, or includes data from a table that represents the endpoint. So he's saying that between this table and this table, Hoge dropped somewhere around a dozen holders. You can see, if you look at mine, what actually happened is Hoge increased by about I guess exactly 300. I can look closer. Yeah, so 300 new wallets. Now, those new wallets could include some duplicates, again, because we have people that have both wrapped Hoge and Ethereum Hoge in the same wallet. But ultimately, regardless of what we think about that, that's a semantic issue. That's something that Etherscan needs to reckon with, is if they want to represent just unique holders or not, and we'll do that. So we'll take a look at that too. But if you include all the holders, definitely we increase 300 in that time frame. Now, let's look at Ethereum. So here, if we do the same thing, I'm going to show you how I did that. So when I work on this stuff, I use really only three formulas. There's a formula called COUNTIF, a formula called AVERAGEIF, and a formula called SUMIF. On the previous table, when you saw me look at the total, the sum of Hoge in those wallets here, I was using SUMIF. You probably can't read that on stream, but trust me, it says SUMIF. So we'll do that again here. So now what we want to do is we want to do a COUNTIF, because we want to know, again, this is the same table. What I've done here is I've just filtered out, so we're only seeing Ethereum addresses, and we're including the burn address here. But anyway, so we're only seeing Ethereum addresses. And again, this is the day before, right before midnight, and the day of, the hour that guy was looking at the table. So let's do this. Let's say equals COUNTIF, and we're going to say if this is, I'm gonna spell this out for you guys so you can see this. So this is how this works, at least in LibreOffice. So LibreOffice, the one thing I like about it more than I like OpenOffice is strict about the commas versus semicolons. Microsoft Excel uses commas in their formulas. OpenOffice uses semicolons and does not let you use commas. LibreOffice doesn't care. They'll let you use either one. Also, it does tend to crash less, even though you're going to probably see a crash tonight because it is still a piece of shit. Okay, so here's our range. We want to COUNTIF, and then we do a criteria here. So in quotation marks, we're going to say not equal and void. I think I did that right. Yes, I did. Look at that. Okay, so this is, for this range of the prior day, how many are not void. If we subtract this minus this, we get 10. So he said about 12. I'm saying about 10. There's a chance that one, because he looked at it at whatever, something 3:12 minus from 3 o'clock. There's a chance in that 12-minute span that one more person moved their coins off of the Ethereum chain, and that would account for that other one. And then the final one would be the burn address. So, so I think this is the hard evidence that should show you that all that number means on Hoge.report is that money is moving, or Hoge is moving off of the Ethereum chain. Now, what happens when it does that? So, as I explained before, it seems very unlikely to me that when that happens, that money's that account is selling completely. But we can look at that. So the first thing we can look at is what I've done. Let's go back to the main page. So what I've done up here is I've put in a recurrence. So how many times does this wallet name recur? So what this uses a count if again. So count if this range and then the wallet name or the wallet address. So if you see a 1, it means that this is a unique wallet that only occurs one time in this array or in this table. If you see a 2, it means it occurs twice. Okay? Now, over here, I pull out those duplicate addresses, and you can see there's quite a few. There are 289, because we have the header row, 289 duplicate addresses. So all of these have the opportunity to represent a Hoj that left one side and went to a new chain. And I think you'll see that happens like right, well, let's see, we need to look at Ethereum. So in the Ethereum chain, let's see, maybe not. Maybe we don't have any that go from Ethereum. Let's make sure I'm thinking about this right. So it needs to go from Ethereum here and then be void on the other side. So that's not what's happening. So maybe we'll keep looking. So why is this happening? So here are all the addresses that became void from the first time to the second time. So basically, these are the addresses that left the Ethereum, when it says Ethereum. We need to filter this by Ethereum here. So these wallets are the, let's see, how many do I have selected? 31 wallets that became void in that time. So, so what we're seeing here is basically if there were 12 that he saw that the number went down by, then there were 31 minus 12. So what's 31 minus 12? 18. 19. 19 account addresses that were added. 19 new Ethereum addresses were added. 31 left, and he saw 12 total. A 12 total decrease. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The question is what happened with these accounts. So what I want to do now is I want to look at a few of these and see where that Hoj went. Now to do that, I'm going to phone a friend because I'm not very good at this part of it. But I want to say again, this definitely is that set of addresses that are showing up as that decrease. So let's see if I can find somebody to get on the horn, and we can talk through this stuff. Let's see, who wants to help me with my stream? And Dave Poole offered to, and I appreciate it. I'm probably going to pull him in, but if more than one person wants to, that would be nice too. Okay, so nobody's biting. Let me jump into voice chat and see if anybody... Well, let's just talk to Dave Poole first and see how much we can get done. Let me give him a ring. That did not work. Let's go into the community chat. I'd really like to pull somebody on this to help out, so we'll jump in here.
Or
hey
other
guys, you're on my stream. Does anybody want to help me?
And they lost a lot, and they go back after they lose a lot. So
okay, all right, good talk.
People, sorry.
If anybody wants to help me with some data stuff, shoot me a DM. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll see if we can get somebody on the horn. But anyway, okay, so what we're trying to do here, and maybe I could just send some of these addresses to him, but we're going to open a few of these and see if we can track down the transactions that occurred to void these values. I'm going to just choose a few at random here. I could be wrong. Maybe they sold out in a perfect amount, and I'm wrong about it, but I just don't see that happening. So let's see. Is there a transaction history? ERC20. Hoj Finance. Okay, out. Okay, so this guy looks like he moved a bunch. Let's see what that transaction looks like, or that account looks like. Okay, this is, what am I looking at here? Is this the same guy? Oh no, he received Hoj from this other address. And it looks like maybe he did manage to sell it all. Okay. Well, let's keep going down the list, because I wanna make sure that that's the case. Let's try another one here. Okay, so let's look at his BEP 22. Oh wait, am I in the? Let's see. Butthole Rocket and Chuck Norris. Interesting. So he doesn't have any. Why is that a BSC scan address? That's interesting. I clearly don't know what I'm doing here. Let's try another one here. Okay. Here's another Etherscan. So, let's see. He doesn't have any Hoj either. Okay. Well, let's see. Can we filter by his? So you can't filter by token. That's really frustrating. Loans. What the fuck? Anyway. Okay. Well, maybe these people are selling out. See, I need somebody who knows how to read this stuff better than I do to help me with this. Okay, I'm gonna. Did this guy sell all his Hoj? I just sent an address to Dave Poole to see if he can maybe unwrap that. But that is interesting that it's not showing up. And it's going to the Uniswap. Let's see, what is this? Okay, here. So it turned into wrapped Ethereum. So I think this is a person wrapping their Hoj. Does that make sense? Okay, let me go to my phone a friend. You can just click the token if you want to filter. Okay. That's good to know. But I think this is the operative transaction here anyway. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so I'm gonna get somebody on here that actually deals with the bridge. That can help clear some things up for us, I think. Stand by. Okay, cool. I think I found somebody who can help me. So Noob is a holder that helped work on the bridge, or at least understands it pretty thoroughly. And I'd love it if he'd just jump on a voice chat. Okay, he's grabbing a headset. Sweet. And now Hoj support has messaged me for some reason. But yeah, so I think this is. Why are they messaging me? So let's look at another one here. So let's try this guy again. I'm saving now for some reason. Whoops. Okay. Is there an Etherscan linked to him? Maybe something will go right. Okay, so here's this address. Okay. So 4 days and 14 hours ago, this person what the fuck? It's so confusing. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna give him a call here.
Hello?
Hey man, you're on my stream, just so you know. And I have I need some help. I'm phoning a friend. So,
all right, what's up?
I'm going to show you. Okay, so what I'm trying to track down, there was a user on Telegram earlier this week who, or last week I guess, no, this week, it's still Sunday, who said that the number of holders on Hoj.report was going down and on Etherscan was going down. So
I did see it go down by like 0.1% for 1 day earlier this week.
Yeah. So I think I tracked down. Well, so what I've done. Let me show you. I don't know how to show you this necessarily. I can send a screenshot, I guess. So what I've done is I've gone in and I've compared the day before. So the way the Etherscan thing works is it shows you that a value going up or down is compared to the end of the day count on Etherscan. So basically like the last I guess, block transaction that happens on on the Ethereum chain. So it compares that count of holders to the current count, right? Now, it's, of course, only looking at the Ethereum chain.
Is that per block or is that per day?
It's per day.
Okay.
So it's summarizing the day end.
So it takes like the first block of the day and then the last block of the day summarizes the number of holders.
It takes the most recent block and takes the last block of the previous day. So and then compares those two values to see if the value's gone up or down, right? So in terms of the total number of holders. So I suggest that maybe all of that, if not some of that, is people moving their Hoj Ethereum off of the Ethereum chain and onto another chain. Not that they're selling out their Ethereum coins.
That would be my guess too.
Right. So I'm trying to quantify that. And so first of all, tell me if this is your understanding as well, that you really can't. There's no way you could sell all of your Hoj through Uniswap from a private wallet.
You could not sell it. You can only transfer it. Yes.
Okay. So.
Because the slippage would mess you up.
Right.
You'd always have at least the slippage left.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So we're on the same page there. So what I want to see now, or what I'm trying to see now, is among the accounts that have, a value from the first day, or from the last hour of the first day, and then no value in the current day, which is, I'm comparing the time frame for which this guy was looking at Etherscan. I'm going to give you an address in chat, and what I'm trying to find out.
So what's the easiest way, honestly, is also pull BSC scan, because smart chain addresses are identical to Etherscans.
Yeah.
So then you could just do an inner join on the addresses and get the count of unique addresses. That way you're not double counting ones that are on both chains too.
Of course that would be one way to do it. That'd be a way to get the correct number for sure. But
right.
but a way to determine whether or not these people, the incrementing down of that value represents somebody leaving Hoj or not is what I'm trying to figure out. And you'd have to know if that person had sold out all of their Hoj. So like for an example, that address that I gave you, I'm looking at the Etherscan for that one now. I'm trying to suss out.
So I just pulled it up.
Yeah, so this transaction. Let's see.
And this is when about, because that's an address, right? Not a transaction ID.
Oh, sorry. I sent you the. Okay. Let me paste
the wallet address.
Let me paste what I sent you.
ERC20 tokens. Tiger King. There's got to be Hoj in this list somewhere.
Maybe it got. Let's see. Can we switch to? Okay. Let me give you another address that you can actually see them on. So here's one that has.
So I see one 4 days, 18 hours ago. Moved out 16 million and change Hoj.
Okay. How did you get to the second page?
Nope.
Oh, view all.
Nope. That was that was Uniswap V2. So that was actually a sell. I don't see any transfers.
So how did they manage to then sell it all?
So it's possible, it's unlikely, but it is possible that there was no slippage. So that whatever they put it in with all the decimal places executed exactly at that price.
Right. So if you look at...
it almost never happens, but it is technically possible.
Well, so if you look at the transaction itself, it's going from Hoj to wrapped ETH. What is wrapped Ethereum?
Basically Ethereum just wrapped
on another chain.
No, you can have it wrapped ETH on the same chain too.
Okay, so this doesn't suggest that is BSC.
No, in fact, that is going through. I've got to go click the all transactions again. View all. Zoom, zoom. 4 days, 18 hours ago. USDT. And there's Hoge. Hoge. Going out, swap V2. Let me grab that transaction. Here's the block. So the transaction was swapping Hoge for ETH.
Okay, so that was just a circumstance where there was no slippage then.
Yeah, so it was Hoge for so Uniswap uses wrapped ETH in the middle. So if you look at it, so I mean you could go in and do a transfer with 0 slippage.
If you got lucky.
It might make it through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
As long as there is enough liquid. So the way that liquidity pools work in the AMMs is it provides liquidity across the entirety of the price chain from 0 to infinity, or at least for Uniswap V2, which is why you need an exact 1-to-1 ratio for all particular price points. It's kind of what screws us on depth versus V3, where it's a bonded yield curve type of approach. So you can set liquidity to only be within 1 cent and 1.5 cents or whatever. So it multiplies the effective liquidity depth. But as long as there is sufficient liquidity for the transfer to happen at that exact price, it can go through.
Okay.
And for 16 million, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, then
because that's like what, 0.1%
Yeah.
of the total liquidity.
Right.
So yeah, I think the way that it would work is that as long as your price impact, there's a ratio between the price impact and the required slippage too. As long as that ratio is effectively 0, you can get rid of them all.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I'd have
so
to dig out their white paper again.
No,
It was
no,
a
no.
huge, crazy long formula.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
But
Cool.
yeah, the tax generally should prevent it, but it can happen.
Yeah. Okay. So
So actually, there is another way that you can do it. So if you flip the token order around, most people just hit max, right? When you go to sell, if they're going to dump, they'll go just hit the max on the top button, which is the Hoge button.
Right.
Right, which sets a value, and that is what ties it to. It ties the slippage and as well as the transaction fee to how much you get out of it, and ETH or BNB or whatever. I use the same trick on selling, and or when I'm buying, is so let's say you take something like a safe moon with a 10% slippage on buy and sell. Because there is no floating point arithmetic available in Solidity, if you go in, you hit max for what you want to buy right at the top. So let's say I have 1 BNB, hit max, and it gives me a number of SafeMoon on the bottom. I can make my slippage 0.01% as long as I add a decimal to the end. I can make it, right? So let's say it's 1 BNB gives me 10 million. If I make it 10 million 0.5, it will now cost 0.98 BNB, and I can set my slippage to 0.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, it's completely stupid.
Yeah, that is incredibly stupid. Okay, well,
but it's brilliant. So now you know the trick. That's how you can actually. So I do the same thing when I buy Hoge. I buy Hoge at 0.1%.
Yeah.
For my slippage, just just make it 0.5 at the end, and it screws up the AMM arithmetic.
Wow, interesting. Okay, cool. That's cool. Well, all right.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way when you sell. Unfortunately, you can't trick it on the sell.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens to the extra percentages. It's just whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Somehow it executes. It's something weird in Uniswap.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool. Well, I'm proven
so
wrong.
that one does look like a holder that managed to execute effectively zero slippage.
Yeah. I I just can't imagine that this is that these 38 people all pulled that off. I mean, maybe they did. I'll keep on digging through, but it's good to know that that's what a transaction like that looks like. Um, but yeah, man,
But
it's
yeah, you can
frustrating.
see it going straight to the router right there.
Okay, so if it's going straight to the
Now,
router,
what
then
I'd
it
be
definitely
interested
means
in, yeah, so if it was being bridged, it would be going to the
any swap.
bridge address, either any swap or multi-chain XYZ's
Okay.
whatever particular contract address that is. If you do
Okay.
the bang contracts, it'll show you the bridge contracts
Right.
in main chat.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
See, what I'm interested in though is I want to grab that address again. Where's that? Where'd that go? Contract from, there we go. So what I want to do though is let's grab this guy's address and dump it into BSC scan, because it's entirely possible maybe they just sold it on one side rather than dealing with the tax.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
So might not have wanted to deal with the Ethereum gas fee
Uh huh.
of transferring and interacting with multi-chain whatever. And so it's possible. Now he hasn't touched his Ethereum wallet in a while.
Oh, that they sold
He's
it
got a
and then just
Binance
bought it on
hot
the other
wallet.
side.
Yeah, so depending on what gas looks like, sometimes I'll convert things to, Hoj or whatever else if I'm swing trading, but I don't swing trade Hoj.
Well, you still
But
spend gas when you sell, or you still have to pay gas when you sell,
you,
right?
you do, but it's less, and it depends. So the more complex the contract interaction is, the higher your gas fee.
And
So for
converting
me
directly through any swap is more expensive, you're saying?
converting through Uniswap is, kind of one of the higher price things because the routers are complicated. But I haven't looked at doing. And it'd be an interesting thing to look at is what the gas fee is. Any swap convert versus multi-chain.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea. I mean, if multi-chain, XYZ costs twice as much gas, because a simple transfer is about a third the gas is dealing with Uniswap. So that would mean that you could sell it for, USDT or whatever, send that to your central exchange. I use Binance because it's on both sides, and I'll convert from whatever to BNB in Binance and drop it back into my wallet
Mm. Yeah.
because it's cheaper than going through a bridge.
Yeah.
Because I'm a high volume, all my swing trade stuff I do on Binance. So I'm a high volume trader on there. I get like a 0.05% fee or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you know a lot more about this shit than I do.
It doesn't look like that's what that wallet did though. It looks like they actually managed to clear the wallet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good, that's a good idea. But ultimately, I think, regardless of whether or not these people are managing to sell, this Hoj report and Etherscan are still just part of the story because, I mean, we're still gaining holders on these other chains. And it's just that if he had seen the total picture, then we were really up 19 holders instead of down 12. So, because there were like 31 of these
So
voids, but, or
I don't know what the status of getting the other chain data onto, or I mean, so the market cap is fine, but because that doesn't really matter. Volume and total holders of getting pulled up into coin market cap and onto Hoj report and all that. I haven't talked to Mumu about it, but those are things need to be on the backlog.
yeah, I talked to somebody. I sent him a message about it, but maybe it was. Is that Mumu, the guy that works on that? I'll have to.
No, that's Greg. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Greg. Yeah.
But yeah, but Greg's never on Telegram. He's usually in Discord.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know because I messaged him on Telegram and he responded, but then I haven't heard back. So cool. Yeah, I'll talk to him on
He
Discord
is,
as well.
yeah. He pretty much only ever gets on Telegram if somebody goes to Discord and tells him to get on Telegram.
Okay, cool. Well, sweet man. Well, I appreciate your help.
Yeah, good luck. I'll look forward to the next set of data you put together.
All right, I'll probably plug in for the next or more of the streams in the future for sure.
All right, we'll talk
All
later.
right, later.
Bye.
Well, there you go. So, looks like you can, in theory, sell out. I still think it's worth investigating how many of these are actually perfect sales. Then again, like he said, you know, these duplicate addresses, there should be voids here. I think if it were an address that just bridged. So, yeah, I mean, maybe in this case, maybe in any case, those all are people that happen to be able to hit zero slippage. If that's the case, good on them. Regardless of that, I think still, if we look down here and we see that, you know, the thing went up 300 accounts total, regardless of how many people managed to sell, still went up by 300 as well. You know, he said that it was 540 less was what was being reflected in Hoj report. So I mean, it's frustrating, and it's something that I think we could fix on our end, but we definitely can't fix on the Etherscan end, right? So that kind of sucks. So we'll keep moving through here and look at, let's see. So here's the X die. You know, this doesn't really make much sense to look at this because this is from a week ago, so it's not really new data. On the next stream, I'll be sure and I'll pull the previous week's data series, and we can look at how these addresses are changing. But hopefully, I can send some of this stuff along to what's that guy's name, Greg, and get him thinking more about developing a Hoj report, because man, having that that down arrow thing that's a real I don't know, that's FUD, man. That's a killer. All right, so that's all I really wanted to show tonight. I think I've answered my question that I was maybe a little bit wrong, but also a little bit right, because we're still showing data that doesn't make any sense. Cool. So with that, I think I'll sign off. I'll dump the tables that you saw here into the description of this video. I'll also put them into Telegram and Discord.